president would want to have happen in the first month of his tenure. 7, possibly 8 people killed in Obuasi. Illegal miners, no less. So, let's talk about it. On the phone, joining us is our very own Joy News and Love FM correspondent, Emmanuel Bright Kweku, who has been covering this matter in Obuasi. He's joined by Dr. Ken Ashigbe, convener of the Media Coalition Against Galam. Good morning to you both.
Good morning. Good morning, Kojo.
All right, now, Bright, let's start with you, okay? We want to get the latest. What's the situation in Obuasi this morning?
All right, so Kojo, when you come to Obuasi, as we speak now, the situation is a bit calmer compared to yesterday when the incident broke. And so this morning, you'd have the indigents going about their usual duties. You'd have fine market women around, the normal people going about their own duties, with the exception of two students or pupils in both public and private schools going to school. The schools have been closed for today and tomorrow. And so for the school children, they are not going to school. But generally, the community is a bit calmer as compared to yesterday when the incident broke.
Have there been any reactions in the community to the statement from the presidency calling for an investigation?
Yeah, definitely, Kojo. There's been a reaction from the miners themselves with regards to this investigation, because when I spoke with them, they were telling me that they needed to know who actually gave the command for the military to open fire on them, because from my interactions with them, they tell me that the commander on duty at the time when they encountered the military had received a call. They don't know the person who called them. But right after the call, he opened fire on them. He cocked his gun and then opened fire on them. So they really want to know who actually made that call or gave the orders for them to be fired at. I spoke with the 2024 parliamentary candidate for the NDC in Obuasi East, and he was actually also calling for the same thing, because he says that for some time now, whenever even these illegal miners are arrested at the mining concession, the abandoned mining concession, usually they are detained by the police and then they are released onto their families as and when they are able to pay their fine and all. But for them to, for the military to open fire on them, that's where they are not so well in thoughts about it. So they really want an investigation to find out who actually gave the orders for them to be the military to open fire on them. And right. With respect to the medical treatment bearing the cost by Anglo Gold Ashanti, this has really come as a relief for them, because most of these illegal miners, they are unemployed, and so their families do not have enough to provide medical treatment for them. So for AGA to bear the cost as directed by the president, it has definitely come as a relief to them, so they could ensure that their injured persons, the 8 people, have a good standing, or their welfare is being taken care of. So it has come as a relief for them. For the at least 8 people that have been confirmed dead, we understand that the body will soon be released onto the family for them to give them a victim burial.
Right, Bright, clear up something for us. The statement from the military says the shootout led to the death of 7 illegal miners and 1 seriously injured. The Anglo Gold statement says the same, 7 shot dead. But the presidency says up to 8 lives. How many people have died?
Well, indeed, Kojo, the numbers keep dwindling. When you speak with the authorities, they are giving you this figure, they are giving you another figure. But from what we gathered initially, we were told that it was 9 people. But as and when we further inquired, we understand that at least 8 people have been confirmed dead. And even with regards to those who were injured, who were transferred from Obuasi, we understand that 9 people were injured, and 8 of them were transferred to the Konfanoti Teaching Hospital to receive treatment. But as of whether they are well or even passed on, and that's yet to be confirmed. That's yet to be. I'm yet to find out from the authorities here at Konfanoti to see whether these people are also even alive. And so for the numbers as we speak now, it keeps dwindling, but at least some 8 persons have been confirmed dead.
So 8 confirmed.
Yes.
Right. Now, tell us, at this point, with calls for investigation, are you seeing a heavier presence of security services, police, and so forth in the Obuasi township, or are things pretty much back to normal?
So there is still security presence in Obuasi. I saw some vehicles from the military, some armored vehicles. At least when I was in the town, I saw at least some 2 of them patrolling from the Obuasi municipality itself and then Obuasi East municipality. You know, the Obuasi East is where the incident happened. That's where the concession is. But Obuasi municipality is where the mine actually is. That's where the operations for Anglo Gold Ashanti is, and even a residential area for the miners or workers of Anglo Gold. That's where it is. So they were patrolling to and fro from this particular in this particular town. When you go to the police stations, even in Obuasi, you'd find a lot more of the police officers around, because yesterday when I was there, I saw a vehicle, a police vehicle, moved from the Ashanti South Police Command to give more security presence on ground for the people to be protected, because the people were calling for heightened security, because even one of the shops nearby was torched when the illegal miners set ablaze a vehicle. We understand it crashed into the shop and then it set it ablaze, and the properties in there were all destroyed. And so the residents themselves were calling for heightened security. So as we speak now, there is a lot security presence in Obuasi, Kojo.
Thank you for that update. Emmanuel Bright-Kweku is our correspondent with Love FM, our Joy News correspondent with Love, and he has been covering the story in Obuasi. Now, Dr. Kanashigbe is the convener of the Media Coalition Against Galam. Well, Doc, 8 people believed to be dead, and this time it's illegal miners encroaching on a legal mining concession. Are you surprised at this outcome?
Well, good morning, and good morning to our listeners. I can't say I'm surprised. Definitely, this is something that has been happening over the years, and where you get these illegal miners wanting to invade these concessions, and especially for Anglo Gold. You remember that for us in the PR fraternity, we lost one of our colleagues, one of the Anglo Gold communication managers, in the same operation, a similar operation where they had gone in and he lost his life. And so this is not new. This is something that keeps happening, and you find out that for the Media Coalition, our attention has not even been on that kind of illegality more than the one that they do that destroys the environment, the water, and all of that. But this is also an illegality, and definitely it's a cause of worry. But you know, in a country of a rule of law, you would expect that when these things happen, the law takes its course. So at this stage, and that's why the Ghana Coalition Against Galam, we have just issued a statement. This statement was planned before this thing happened, but we also agree with the president calling for an investigation, and we believe that we need to have an independent investigation that gets to hear the side of, even if they are, well, they themselves confess that they were an illegality, but even criminals have rights. And then also here's the side of the military. And then once we establish what the truth is, what Ghanaians really deserve, we need to know what the truth is to ensure that the right thing is done, the right punishment is exacted to whoever it is that has done wrong. That is so important, because if we're building a country of rule of law, we need to make sure that the law takes its course, not looking at who is involved. So the facts have to be properly established.
Professor Kwesi spoke to us earlier, and he warned that this sort of thing could spread, that other large-scale mining concessions could find themselves encroached by illegal miners. Do you foresee similar potential outcomes, and what must be done to prevent such a thing?
So, you know that in Trosso, the Newmont also reported something around the 9th of January. You also know that in the past, we have had situations where some illegal mining sites was raided, and even for them, the core samples and all of that were destroyed, and nothing happened to it in the past. So that's why, for me, it is really important that this thing is investigated, and if it is, those who are found culpable are punished. But it is very important that we also, in as much as we'll be calling on the large-scale miners to do their social corporate responsibilities and all of that, if we really want to make sure that we are benefiting from mining, and we would also become a destination for both local direct investment and foreign direct investment, then we need to send that signal to people that we would not tolerate any impunity and people just attacking people's legal concessions. And so that's an important message if we are to stop what Prof. Enin is talking about. So if you look at the statement we just issued, one of the things that we said, and just if you allow me to quote a little paragraph, it says, while we acknowledge the government's mentions of the need to address Galamsey in its first 120-day agenda, we are deeply concerned about the pace of the action. And we have formally written to His Excellency the President, urging for an immediate cease and desist order to all illegal miners and regulatory bodies. This decisive measure is crucial to demonstrate the government's commitment to combating this menace and protecting our environment, especially as a comprehensive strategies are being developed. So it is important that this cease and desist order is given, so that the illegal miners do not think that a vacuum has been created and there is space for them to do whatever it is that they want to do. Because a 9th January occurrence in Introtroso and then this happening on the 18th of January really is a cause of worry, and we should not allow that in this period when His Excellency is forming his team and all of that, when the MCs are no more at post, people think that, it's the time for them to continue doing what they are doing. So it is important that the regulatory bodies that are currently at post, the police, if you go to the assemblies as well, the coordinating directors are still at post, the EP, the Minerals Commission, that people still at post. We need to let people know that we are still within a country of rule of law, and it's so important that the cease and desist, order is given, because we've heard the president talk about passports. We know what is happening on oral, and so for the environment, which has no time to waste, which we in August last year were reporting turbidities of 14,000 NTUs instead of 5. And we know that in the recent days, some water treatment plants have been closed. And so the challenge is still there. So it's important that we don't create a vacuum that allows people to still perpetuate these illegality and irresponsibility. And 9 lives is really a difficult, or 8 or 9 or 7 lives, or even 1. It's a difficult one to take in this one. It's important that this investigation is done, and not only is the investigation done, but those who are found culpable, we need to ensure that the maximum sanction is exacted, so that it prevents a future occurrence of it.
Now, the president has made several appointments so far. The only appointment that has any relationship whatsoever to Galamsey might be Sami Jemfi going to PMMC, but even then it's a tangential relationship, not anything directly aimed at fighting Galamsey. With such an incident now happening, what does the media coalition feel about where Galamsey seems to lie in the president's list of priorities?
So, before even these issues had come to light, again, if you permit me, I'll just read just the top of the paragraph I read. It says, despite these efforts, and this is talking about what we had done before the election, despite these efforts, since the December 2024 elections, we have witnessed a further decline in the situation. The perpetrators exploited perceived leadership and government silence on the matter, leading to an increase in illegal and irresponsible mining activities. The tragic incidents in Trotroso and Obuasi a few days back, whatever would be the outcome of an official independent investigation by His Excellency the President, which we fully support, are timely reminders that this problem is an explosive threat to national security and cohesion. So we believe that it is so important that the president appoints a minister for the particular sector as quickly as possible, because, again, as you said, appointing somebody to PMMC for the gold board, it's a good one, but it does not deal with the issues of national security and the immediate threat. And if you look at some of the things we were asking for in the past, so we completely concede that this is early days yet for the president, and he's in the process. He's giving us 14 days to complete his appointment, which should end tomorrow. We also take cognizance of the fact that he has number 19 of his social contract that talks about dealing with it. But it is important that something be done immediately ahead of the appointment of the Minister for Foreign Affairs. We have an order issued for people to return their passports, and you see, so that's a good one. So we believe that in the same vein, the issues around Galamsey, the issues around the destruction of the environment are so important that even ahead of appointing a minister, the government who all these ministers serve, the president who all these ministers serve, should be able to issue that direct order to everybody, every citizen, and everybody who's also employed within the sector, to start acting so that people do not think that it's time for them to move. What we saw in 2017 was that the NDC that were doing the Galamsey in 2016, immediately, the election happened and the NPP came into office. We saw the NPP people begin to take over. So that transition happened between 2016 and 2017. The transition is happening as we speak. There is transition moving. The criminals and the illegality is moving from the MPP to the NDC. So it is important that this time that we have a president who, has had opportunity, 8 years of reflection, who has come, who has told us that it's about legacy, and we can see that beginning to happen. It is time that we deal with this wicked problem of Galamsey once and for all.
Now, there are some who are suggesting that following this action in Obuasi, that the military has proved itself to be more effective at fighting illegal miners than the police. Is that your conclusion too?
I would not say that. The thing that we should all realize, and again, Kojo, this is about, I remember you very clearly, when there was this issue about the military officer who said during the elections, if you do and you let them bring us in, we are not coming to do customer service. So we need to realize that in a democratic country, the institutions that have primary responsibility for security, law and order is the police. We would bring the military in as a last resort, but it is important that we strengthen the hands of the police. It is important that the issues that used to happen in the past where when these police people go on operation, somebody will call from somewhere and say, no, let these people go. All of those things don't get repeated. If we empower our police and empower the other regulatory bodies, then we would only use the military as really last resort. Because sometimes some of these illegal miners come up with a lot of heavy firepower that sometimes they could overwhelm the police, which will be your first, buffer. And so when that happens, then you know that you can escalate it. But in the ordinary sense of things, we should strengthen our police, strengthen our immigration, strengthen the Minerals Commission, strengthen the EPA, strengthen, even give our chiefs a bit more power. You know that in some of these mining communities, there are days that the local people have set aside as taboo days, and on those taboo days, they don't go to the theaters of these crimes that they commit. So, which means that if we are able to actually harness the power of our traditional authorities, we would be able to bring something to happen. The challenge is the fact that, as we have seen in the past, the firefighters are the arsonists. Those we have put in power, those who are in authority, those influential people, MCs, DCs, chairpersons of political parties, regional chairpersons of political parties, are themselves culpable and involved in that. Unfortunately, again, we've heard the president say that if you are in his government, you cannot be wanting to go into these particular spaces. So if we are able to deal with that thing and get the political will, that comes really from the top, and the tone is set properly, we would be able to empower our civil, regulatory, and law enforcement bodies to be able to nip this in the bud.
Now, the problem, however, is the record of the police in the fight against Galamsey. We know of Galamsey that has occurred literally meters away from police stations. We know
still
of
occurring.
Yes, we know of videos of police officers allegedly turning up at Galamsey sites, collecting money and leaving. We know of Erastus Asaridonko's case where, after he and his team were kidnapped, abducted, beaten, he went back with police officers who kindly invited the suspects to come to the police station, and they declined. And that was it. The police's record in fighting Galamsey is very difficult, for people to assign trust and hope to.
I tell you again, Erastus's own operation. There was the time when Erastus went into a place where Heritage Interior, a company that had been given exploratory license, that was engaged in mining activities, who even confessed in court themselves that they were engaged in. They were being guarded by military people. So, the evidence also exists. There were situations where even Operation Vanguard themselves, pointed out some of their military people of also having been involved in some nefarious activities. So the thing about it is not just, calling the police out, but it is what are the reasons that led this happen? If we set the tone right from the top, if we ensure that when these police people go and put their lives at stake and go and arrest these people, we would make sure that nobody calls from the top and say, let them go. If we would ensure, because you see, if somebody was supervising the police, if somebody was checking all the way to the top, they would do a good job. So I agree that there have been major challenges with the way all of these things happen. But it's all because, I believe, we don't set the tone properly at the top. And right. So if we set the tone properly at the top and we equip the police appropriately, and we also use them, especially when it comes to the firepower, the team they are going to deal with. We use a lot of intelligence, not like the situation where the Eastern Regional Minister, for example, went into a Galamsey site with a team of 30 people, and the people they went to meet there, the firepower in the method, they had to retreat. And if we know, so that we know that in this particular place they are going to, the weapons of the military, the police will be able to deal with it, then they go. And then if we know they cannot, then they get the support. So For me, I would not completely want to say the police cannot do it. It has to, we need to add other things to it. And the point also has to be made that the fight against Galamsey, again, I said it's a wicked problem. Professor Gordon will tell you that the wicked problems would require multifaceted solutions to it and requires a lot of research. So it's not just your law enforcement angle. What other things do we need to add to it to be able to make sure that happens? So I would still cut the police a bit of a slack. I know they've had their own challenges, but I believe that, the challenges have always been because the tone from the top has really not supported it. The people at the very top, there are police people who have been transferred just because they have gone to arrest people. How is it that Akonta mining, which the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources pointed out that was involved in an illegality, that the Minerals Commission confirmed? Up till today, we petitioned the IGP, who forwarded it to the Director General of CID. Up till today, Akonta mining has not been arrested and taken to court for him to have his time in court. So we what we need to do is to have the right political will to be able to deal with this issue. Again, I'll go back to Professor Gordon. He prescribed the solution as being Ghana. Good governance is the first one of that, of the solution to this particular problem. So, I am quite hopeful that with His Excellency the President putting it in number 19, he would actually walk the talk and some of the things he has said. Right. And it is important that for him, he also goes back and look even into the MPP manifesto. There are some interesting solutions that he adds to his solution. And I believe that we would be able to crawl back from this place of genocide that we were brought to in the last regime.
Right, very well. Thank you very much for your time with us. Dr. Ken Ashigbe is the convener of the Media Coalition Against Galamsey.